Welcome back to ulti.TV's coverage of xEUCF 2021. 2020, that's too many 20s. 2021 here in Bruges in Belgium. Benjamin Rees joined by Hannah Pendlebury. We've got the teeth back in for this open pre-quarter matchup, an all-German affair with the Munich Ultimate Club from, of course, Munich, up against Berlin's Wall City. And you just saw with that hammer there, a break for the Munich Ultimate Club to take a 2-0 lead in this game. It should be an exciting, spicy affair, I think, Hannah.
Oh, absolutely. Seeing the underdogs in this matchup coming through. I was speaking to one of the Wall City players ahead of this game, who unfortunately won't be featuring on the field. And he was saying, you know, they've had a pretty good run at this tournament so far. The only defeat against CUSB La Forta. So they're feeling pretty confident coming into this, but they've started rather quietly.
Yeah, Wall City ended up finishing second in what was a hell of a power pool. They carried through a 15-13 win over Ranelagh into the pool after strong wins elsewhere. And they went down 15-10 to Foy, a bit of a disappointing one. But a very strong win over Flying Angels of Bern. Gave them a 15-13 victory when that all shook out. They ended up finishing third on a three-way tie behind Ranelagh and behind Prague's Foy to take third in the pool. Meanwhile, Wall City, as you mentioned, coming second in that pool as they get their first point of the game here. Yeah, they beat Czech 13-11 yesterday, a thoroughly impressive win. Carried that into the power pool stage. That loss, as you mentioned, 14-12 to CUSB La Forta for a 13-11 victory over Mooncatchers, and that means Mooncatchers, who maybe had one of the stories of day one with that sudden death victory over La Forta, are now out of the bracket.
Oh my word.
Yeah, I know. So all of those people who were like, oh, uh-oh, my bracket's busted now with everything up in the air thanks to that Mooncatcher victory over CUSB. Well, in the end, turns out nothing happened. CUSB finished top of the power pool anyway, as you were.
As you were.
So first point of the game for the Berliners, Wall City. Down a break early in this contest. 2-1, as we mentioned, an all-German affair. So perhaps a little bit more on the line than perhaps there otherwise would be.
There's an extra little bit of pride, it has to be said. And if you are tuning in and you happen to be a German Ultimate fan in particular, whether that be playing or just enjoying the German style, they tend to play a lot of box-style offense. It's good to watch, but Munich here coming out on offense.
Yeah, it looks like a zonal setup defensively for Wall City. It's really interesting with teams that maybe know each other a little bit better than some of the others. What do they do? Oh, brilliant catch block! Leaping up from Konrad Schlur. Unbelievable play. And then does he give it right back? No, uncontested foul. Honestly, just the recognition to jump up and get a hand on the disc is almost preternatural. But then to make it stick as well, unbelievable. And now he's got the disc in his hand, trying to punch in a break to level us. Offhand, backhand, gets it away. Now on the doorstep. Can he force it in? Jam it in the jam hole. Turns, isolates. Instead, finds a reset in the center of the pitch. Fakes the hammer on the sideline. Turns for Schlur. Still not in the end zone just yet. Player tries to muscle their way to their front cone. Doesn't get it. It's another reset into the center for Ursa, who has the disc back in his hands. Very patient. How long will it last? Little bit of creativity with the break towards that far side with the offhand, backhand. Finally opens up the window. And we're back level once more at 2-2.
Yeah, after a little bit of a slower start for Wall City here, they put themselves back on serve. And Konrad Schlur, last time we watched a Wall City on the live stream. The comments became a little bit of a fan club for Konrad Schlor's thigh game. Now,
oh, hello.
I've had the inside track that Wall City, specifically this year, have bought themselves a set of shorts that are the shorty short style, no longer the big baggy basketball-y ones that are so comfy to wear in the night time. But yeah, Konrad Schlor, turns out he's an ex-ballet dancer,
really?
Allegedly. So the powerful thighs that allow him to reach into the 8th and 9th gear in the stick. Actually, apparently he can put his leg right up by his face.
Well, it's a little bit of grace and balance, I think, as well. And as you mentioned, that flexibility certainly never hurts when you need to spring up for a block or pivot wide for a mark.
And so important for injury prevention.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. And it's really interesting how Ultimate fashion has changed from when I started. It was the baggiest shorts possible and the tightest tops. And now the tops are perhaps a little bit looser and the shorts are minuscule.
Well, post-pandemic, that's no bad thing to have a little bit of extra fabric around the tum.
Right. I also feel that this trend is playing to the strength of those with larger thighs like myself.
Well, you need to have large thighs in order to run fast, right?
Well,
twiglet legs not get anyone everywhere.
I mean, it never worked for me, but sure, why not?
Depends what kind of thick they are.
Hey, I will leave it there.
Thick with a double C.
Yes, quite. Nice little blade over the top. That's going to free up a receiver in space. Vatrin. High. Oh, this is dangerous. Just about makes it stick at the second attempt. A hand to pour it down and then grasp it beyond Schlor's clutches. Puts Munich back in front. MUC leads 3-2.
Well, that's keeping us on serve. Balancing the book. Straight back where it should have been from the start before MUC came out of the blocks ready to go. But good response there from Wall City. As you say, it's a pretty close one. The second asking, MUC managed to punch their scorecard. So how's this power pool shaping up, Benji? Who are the other teams that these two are going to have to face?
Well, now we're in pre-quarters.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
With power pools finished. So the other power pools.
There we go.
There we are. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. I'm glad to be here, but this is game 5 of 5 on a run for me. So
I blame whoever wrote the commentary schedule.
Yeah, I sacrificed myself on the ulti.
Sometimes you've got to do what's best for the team. Over on field 3, the other show pitch, we have Chak from Pornichet in France up against Prague's Foy, and at the moment Foy are up 4-3 there. KFK, well, they've come out strong. They tend to have this tendency where they go on these long runs. They're 5-1 up on Costa Rica Grandes. The other pre-quarter matchup, and I did them myself there. I think I got that in time. It's Bad Skid versus Is No Good. No score updates on that one as yet, but I'm sure there will be some German viewership watching this game that are eager to find out what's going on. And as soon as I get a live score update of that, I will let you know. But if you are watching it on YouTube, please do get involved. It's a lot easier if you do it live than on demand because, unfortunately, I do not have the precognition necessary for that. But all comments and feedback is welcome. And while you're there, kind of just get involved doing what is quote unquote the good stuff of liking, subscribing. There's a notification bell, that sort of thing, so you do not miss any of the action here at xEUCF.
And you are certainly spoiled for choice here as you see Schumacher popping it on the far side to Wolf.
So they've got a wide open swing available. They do take it, and now they're going back in towards the centre of the pitch. Really trying to vary the pace of play here, it feels, the Germans. Going slow, dragging things out, and then going up tempo, perhaps trying to catch their opponents off guard. Here's Wolf. High release backhand. Turns on a little bit of speed in order to get there in time. Now back into the centre. Looking for an option down. Oh, this is a very big injury because this is the talismanic Michael Remy for MUC, who is hobbling to the sideline, being helped away from some teammates. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he just got a cleat stuck in the Astro and tweaked his ankle slightly. He's not in a good way as he comes off the pitch right in front of us here.
He looks to be massaging sort of a hip flexory groiny area. So we'll avert our eyes and focus back on the field action. A
few yards out of the end zone. A little bit of a stoppage downfield, so players just going to reset themselves in their initial positions. We'll keep an eye on that, on Remy's injury status. I do hope for both sides that he's okay to continue, because it'll be a big loss here for Munich, and obviously you always want to beat a rival when they're at their best.
Absolutely. Full fat action, please. And a shout out to Clapham, who are watching this stream keenly to see who will be
who they might face. Yeah.
Apparently they're looking forward to comparing Conrad Schlor's thighs to Conrad Wilson's thighs. I feel like it's going to be a vast difference.
There may be slightly different body types.
Slightly.
It's like, God, watching Frisbee on their off days, Keynote. Oh, look at that. Scything it through a very narrow channel, really zipped it through, and it raced into the palms of Philip Kay to level us up at 3s.
Well, it has to be said, Benji, when I've been chatting to the teams here at this European Championship tournament, one of the things that's been pretty consistent is how much tape these teams are watching. You know, they're studying their opponents, they're scouting them in person, but they are watching these live streams back. And if you want to be part of supporting these streams, how do people get on board with that, Benji?
Well, you will find that in the description of all our YouTube videos, there's a link to our Patreon page, where for a couple of dollars a month, you can become a patron of ulti.TV. That helps us to fund the live streams so we can go and do more tournaments, more pitches, better equipment, more crew, just make everything run a little bit more smoothly. And as I mentioned, it can be a couple of dollars a month, or you can go all the way up to being the level of an ultimate producer like Patrick from Madx or Stephen Cameron from Cameron & Co. Architecture. And just if everyone who watches and enjoys and gets something out of the streams, you know, whether that just as a fan or whether you're studying tape of a future opponent, every little helps, and you can find out more. Full details are on our website, www.ulti.tv, and you raised a very good point. But when you said, I know all these players have a lot of tape, I thought you were thinking because Ultimate players love playing through injury, and like when you peel off the trousers, there's just physio tape everywhere around every joint. Having just come from WGGM BUCC, there was a lot of physio tape in action that week, I can assure you.
Oh yeah, everyone loves a good K-tape tan line. They're so jazzy. Everyone wants it. It's the look of the summer.
I mean, or the autumn, as I guess we are now, probably.
We definitely are autumn. The conditions here are not particularly nice, but it has cleaned up a lot for this game on this AstroTurf field. It's slippy underfoot. We saw Michel Remy go down earlier, but hopefully can dry us off and stay that way so we can keep this action without any of our equipment going to ground.
A bit of international flavour on this O-line, but this time they couldn't connect. As Simonazzi on a high stall just tries to find a release valve through to Igor Naumov, but it's not quite there to be reeled in. So now, for the first time, Wall City will have the disc with a chance to break for the lead. Sebastian Spiegel, wearing those Tokai cleats, one of the tournament sponsors, swings into the centre, and it just bounces off the hands of Joel Ben-Joseph. Highly unusual, and then, well, one bad turn deserves another, as Wagner just can't reel that one in. So here's Schlur, absolutely muscles it deep. It's blading. Can they get a hand underneath it? Somehow it didn't stick in the clutches.
Yeah, Phil Johnson there trying to be the trash collector, but disbout with MUC.
Underneath, make a catch that sticks, and now there's a continuation. Find Wegemans. Meyerhofer in the hands of Vatrin. Trying to trap them on the sideline. Give go opportunity, not quite. Very static downfield. Not isolating the resets. Trying to zing a blade into a very narrow window. And that time, Jimenez was able to get a hand in there to knock it out of the sideline.
Great heads-up play. Just getting a little up in the mixer and making sure that Wall City have the full length of the pitch to go, though.
So picking the disc up, low release, finds Schlur. Shall I see what you mean about the thighs, to be honest?
They are meaty.
Right, here's Spiegel. Downfield for Ursa. Is this going to be a bit of a stoppage? I think the disc is going to go back into the hands, potentially a travel call on that throw from Spiegel. Again, finds the same shot down the sideline on the resumption to Ursa. Low release to Schleur. Offhand, backhand. Oh my word. Got away with that one, did Schleur. Ben Joseph definitely saved his bacon.
We were talking about the execution of Schleur on the previous livestream game. He was nigh on flawless. So it's nice to see he is human too.
This one, there's a lot of air underneath it. Catch is made in the end zone. Goal signalled. Break for Wall City. Yes, no, yes, they give the goal. Trying to get an eye on it. It looks like number 3, Philip Johnson, who's done the honours for the Berliners.
Phil with one of the most low-key scores I've seen all weekend. Just catches it, sits, and everyone else's response around him is like, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Fair enough. It did feel slightly underwhelming, especially given the this is a pre-quarter at Euros between two fierce national rivals. Slightly strange, that one.
You say national rivals. Apparently there's a lot of love between these two teams. It's not that much of a grinder, because there is a sort of apparently a clear bias in favour of Wall City.
Interesting.
That's what I was told. It could be all spurious lies.
Who told you that?
I can't name my sources.
Well, were they from Wall City or MUC?
Yes, they were from Wall City.
Because obviously that may change the accuracy of the information you get. The perspective is the word I was looking for.
The perspective. Okay. All right. Elaborate. Go on.
Well, you know, if like some clubs they feel they play better when they're the underdogs, and there are other clubs that feel like they have a little bit of expectation in front of them. You know, it's interesting. Certain clubs like to be the front runner, other clubs like to be the underdog.
That's true. What's your preference?
I like sitting on the sideline and talking about it.
When was the last time you played a truly competitive game of Ultimate, Benji? He's shaking his head, folks.
I don't know if I've ever played a truly competitive game of Ultimate. Many years ago now, certainly way pre-pandemic. Oh, low throw. Just execution error there from MUC. And he's going to give Wall City a very short field, almost in the red zone already. Jinking and jiving to try and free up a reset. Very good handler defense. Eventually, they send a player back. And they're swinging it towards this near sideline. Force trying to trap them here. Venderholm goes all the way across the field, really utilising the full width. Brilliant snag. Keeps the play alive. Wall City are not giving this point up without a fight as they find the receiver in the end zone. It's Paul Harkins for the 5-3 lead.
Yeah, great stuff from Wall City. That is 2 breaks in a row to advance themselves, put their nose firmly in the lead here.
Something that I enjoy seeing as a commentator is watching players that I've seen at youth levels kind of make the step up through, and then seeing them play at, fulfill that potential at the elite senior levels as well. Paul Harkins is one of those players. So good to see him get on the score sheet here. Although I will state, I genuinely have no bias in this contest. That was just an example of something I like to see in terms of players. Oh, I watched this player when they were younger. It's nice to see them now on the bigger stage.
So how old is he now, roughly?
Good question. I cannot remember. The pandemic has kind of robbed me of all sense of time.
No, I'm with you. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so.
Yes, so it kind of all melds and meshes into one. It's a very strange state of being post-pandemic. I feel at some point I'll kind of re-get my bearings again, but could be...
You need to find your inner time compass.
Yes, I feel it might be a fair few weeks down the line. A fair few weeks? Nah. Fair few years down the line before I probably get a hold of everything.
But it is nice to see some younger players coming through, certainly on the MUC side, although I don't think you can call him young anymore. Thomas Brettschneider came through, I believe, the German junior programs for MUC, so watch out for him. He's number 45.
So this is a big rip deep from the Italian airport, Filippo Simonazzi, and wow, it almost worked its way to von Falkenhausen.
In a traffic of 3 defenders. Great heads up from Wall City.
If he had made the catch, he would have felt like getting away with it, certainly. Offhand, backhand, down the line with Wall City, feeling like they're kicking up into an extra gear here. Low swing all the way across the field. Finds Beigelberg. trying to muscle the way through under tight physical defense as a reset. But Beigelberg gets the disc back. Inside shot to Schleur. Continuing it around to this near side. Here's Johnson. He scored that break that put Wall City up. Into the centre for Spiegel. That's going to be a pick, so that will bring a temporary halt to proceedings. You can see that one develop quite early. Nice loud signalling.
This is good patient offense here from Wall City. It's not perfect waterfall, you know, flowing offense, but it's pretty competent and confident.
For a D-line offense, it looks relatively smooth, I have to say. Schleur, got a little bit of a barge in the back, but he made the throw anyway. And it's, well, Philip Johnson gets his second goal for a break this game, and that is now 4 points in a row for Wall City. They're up 6-3, and unsurprisingly, a little bit rocked, MUC take a timeout.
Yeah, you've got to do it. You've just conceded 4 on the trot. Something needs to be done. I mean, Remy coming off, you said that Remy was very talismanic, which is not an inaccurate statement about MUC. He is kind of a big deal with his beautiful blonde locks. But I think it's just a fact of those first 2 points that MUC snuck against Wall City. They were just maybe a little bit not really on the ball coming into the game, but we're just on a roll at this point. What are you, if you're in that circle right now for MUC, Benji, and you're chatting to them as their coach, what are you going to say?
I think, you know, you have to be honest with yourself that you've made, you know, that you don't concede 4 points in a row without making some mistakes. You need to work out, why are we making these mistakes? Are we taking bad decisions? Are we making right decisions and just not executing them? Mentally, are we not in the right headspace to be up for this game? Because you're looking over at the Wall City huddle, and it is loud and it is large, and you need to find that fire to fight back. And you know, sometimes that's hard. It is hard, but when you play at the elite level, you have to you know that you're going to be tested on, you know, the game on the field, but also in the mind as well.
Well, certainly Wall City are capable of putting those blocks together, and once they're up, at the moment it looks like a risk of MUC being completely shut out of this game. But that being said, we've got an O-line on the field, some jazzy headgear options, keeping cool in these rather chilly pitches. It's not ideal conditions to play Ultimate. It's nice to have a little bit of a gentle breeze caressing the flags to the right of the field.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is not a stiff breeze. As you mentioned, just kind of rippling those Eurodisc flags in the background. The official disc sponsor for this tournament, you might see by the EUF flag in the background as well. One of the 3 kind of title sponsors, along with Lucky Grass, who are providing the merch, and Tokai, who are there who are in attendance here as well as this pool goes deep.
And Tokai, of course, paying for the hosting for our commentary source, keeping us delivering with the facts.
Always happy to support a business that does a lot of hard work. So good to see them, just helping us host the wonderful commentary source tool that makes our job so much easier. Low throw from Naumov right into the breadbasket in the centre of Holzer. Holzer downfield. Oh, this one's going to be overthrown. Again, it's tight defense downfield, so they're really having to try and power throws into tight windows, and it's not coming off.
Yeah, just layering on that pressure. They've got the trowel out and some quick dry cement. They're just sort of slowly piling it onto the shoulders of MUC at the moment.
Another thing interesting is that Wall City do have a much larger roster than their opponents, and you wonder if those extra 5 players or so will make the difference if this game gets tight later on. Just have that little bit of extra gas in the tank.
Oh, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. Even when you've got a relatively light workload of only 2 games per day at this 4-day tournament format, it's when you put it all on the pitch, it's having that bonus of, I know I can run my absolute butt off because I can have a couple points off. Unless, of course, your name is Konrad Schleur, in which case you're probably going to get a block and then come on again and again and again.
Well, when you play the D-line and you get a break train rolling, you do tend to see, you know, you get that extra bit of fire and adrenaline that perhaps you didn't know you had. Cheeky little inside goes over their head. Well collected, actually, because that was very awkward, and now on the ground. But Wall City keep it alive, and they take a timeout because I think they could tell that things were getting a little bit dicey after those last few passes or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive respect to MUC. They're able to really take away those first looks for Wall City, as you say, making things a wee bit uncomfortable. And that's the thing, at this level, you just have to do that. You can't necessarily always generate explosive blocks, maybe sort of the odd one here or there, but it's just taking away the first look, squeezing that sort of gentle, consistent pressure. But some love coming on to the live stream. We've got some shout-outs for Diekman, i.e. Danger, which is apparently Mr. Jonglier Masters' pick for top young player on the pitch.
I mean, there are a fair few to choose from.
Absolutely.
So it's a little bit of pick your poison. While we've got a timeout here, going to bring you updates for some of the other games. Well, KFK look like they're strengthening their title credentials because they've almost got their place in the bracket sewn up already. They're up 10-2 on Costa Rica. That is, well, I mean, they've properly, I mean...
It's not surprising, though. Costa Rica just had that absolute hooner of a game against Free Speed where they had to just fight tooth and nail, winning with a Callahan. Like, how is that possible? They had such a lead.
it was breathless stuff on the sideline. I can't imagine what it was like for them on the field.
Exactly.
Thoroughly enjoyed calling it.
So coming off of that, it's got to be so hard to then come against KFK, who are probably pretty happy.
Yeah, I don't have any eyes on Bad Skid versus Isno, but in the game on the other stream field, Field 3, Foy look like they might be ending Chak's dreams of a title because they are 9-6 up there in the second half.
Well, the goals from Pornichet looked fairly good in their extreme game yesterday, but I can see how that's happening.
I mean, this is the thing. You know, there are more good teams than ever fighting for those 8 quarter-final spots. So you're seeing it now that the good teams are not going to make those. And as you know, you look at Mooncatchers. Day 1, first game, you beat CUSB, and then day 2, you're not even in the top 12. I mean, it's a tough tournament at the top. It really is. Off the timeout, the swing goes to Ursa. Faber down the sideline. Not there, though.
Well, he just completely lost his feet. These are slippy pitches from all the rain today. They're okay drainage-wise, but it's just not great for the cleats underfoot.
You know, the rain has eased, and, you know, on the rubber crumb, you can't wear the bigger spikes that you might like into in such treacherous conditions. So you don't have the grip as this one goes deep. They're looking for Simonazzi. Can he climb the ladder? No, not quite. And he beats the ground in frustration because he thinks he should have had that.
Well, I'll tell you who's not experiencing frustration. One of our newest, greatest members, Jimmy Graham Iserix. Thank you very much for your support.
I love to see it. Thank you so much, because it is an utter delight to be here and bring you this tournament. I mean, there's a decent portion of our crew that flown straight from the... I'll just actually tell you what, I'll finish this point after this point. Down the sideline is Ben Joseph. He centres into the middle of the pitch. Ursa. Around to Mukhametov. Feels like they're getting a lot of very large gainers on these undercuts. Just about sneaks that past the defender. Then continues it around. The D-line offense does not look like a D-line offense where maybe you think that you have the liberty and the license to take a few more shots. But Wall City are just grinding and tiring out this O-line. But that one is a very, well, as I say that,
it's a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift back to the O-line. Can MUC take advantage of it? Holzer wants it all in one. He's looking for Wagner. No! A sensational layout play. On the floor. Tries to gather himself because he looks absolutely gassed. But I think he can get himself a bit of a well-earned breather while the disc is brought back in.
Oh, woof. That was a heckin' play.
You know what? Woof. Yeah, sometimes normal language doesn't quite do it justice, I think. Still kind of bent over on his haunches. It's the number 8 shirt of Julius Faber.
Yeah, he's a pretty handy, well, I say pair of hands. Everything. He does a little bit of everything. And with such a talented D-line, it's unsurprising to see them go up 3 breaks and 4 on the trot.
This is the thing. they seem like they've got so much talent that they can roll a fresh set of legs out there with these D-lines, and you're not necessarily giving out that much. And as well, you kind of feel that perhaps they've got a bit more in their locker defensively as well. It feels like they're winning this with hard-fought, grinding match defense, but I'm sure they've got a zone or two up their sleeve as well if they need it. Break around, goes to Jimenez. He's going to continue that to this near sideline for Ben Joseph. Low release, just about finds that window. Venderholm goes back into the backfield. Now they're running a little bit of give-go. Again, really varying the pace, trying to keep these MUC defenders guessing. Couple of handlers back. Doesn't like the first clear out, and then the inside window opens up. Finds Rickards. And then winds up the arm. Oh, that is sensational from Jimenez. You cannot do it any better. Hit Janus Venderholm right in stride. He even had space just to almost walk it in. That inside channel opened up. And that throw was a gift from the gods, Hannah.
Well, I tell you what, Venderholm just absolutely sneaked away from the back of the pack. MUC have been doing such a great job of sort of, of being aware of where the threats were, but then, yeah, just caught a little bit unawares. Venderholm went for it, had miles of separation, and that was such a beautiful put. Just sat exactly where nobody else even could try to go get it. And I particularly enjoyed the little celebration at the end, just spinning around the pole. Bit of gymnastics for us.
The break train keeps on rolling here for Wall City. That's now 5 on the bounce, 4 breaks in a row. They were 3-2 down, and now they are 7-3 up. And it feels like they are cruising. Another break here to take them into half might put this game beyond MUC already.
Well, we're having James Sully in the comments on the live stream saying that things are worth a rhubarb pie, because apparently Danger on Wall City makes the best rhubarb pies.
Oof, I'll tell you what, I could go for one of those right now.
I could use a little bit of extra sugar, but I feel like I'm getting enough from this game.
I mean, to be fair, there is all. Trust me, if a glass of Bruges Zot was to magically appear on the table next to me, I'd be absolutely made. A point I was going to make earlier, and then everything else happened that was great, is that we've come straight from WGG and BUCC in Sardinia, which was brilliant, but for very different reasons. And these two back-to-back is just a wonderful combination, as that is tipped and rescued in the centre of the pitch by MUC. And then the high-release flick is going to hang, and is tipped away. Johnson's having a strong game, and that time he climbs the ladder to palm it away from Jan Vatrin.
Johnson there with the block, coming across relatively recently to Berlin, an import from the UK, used to play for Clapham Ultimate, of course.
Never heard of him.
Who are those chumps? But as you say, a great addition to this Wall City side.
Floating down the sideline. Wow, the mark didn't just bite, but they took a big old monster munch out of it. And now low into the centre. Jimenez, he's put up one beauty. Oh, so got underneath it. Half for Wall City. God, do you remember when they were 2-0 down in this game? Because it doesn't seem like they do. 8-3, and they are rocking and rolling right now.
Well, it's the thing of they never looked flustered by the fact that they were 2-0 down at the start. You know, they just came in a little bit casual, but they seem to be keeping it fairly casual. Although I have to say, how silly would Öztürk have felt if he hadn't caught that? Because it did die quite low, and he had to, put his body on the ground for it.
Yeah, I will be honest. After the brilliant one throw from Jimenez on the previous point, that one was not his best, but it got enough time and space for the receiver to get a chance to make a play, and Öztürk was equal to it. So half-time here, 8-3 up. I was going to say the Germans. They're both Germans. Technically, some of the Germans are 8-3 up.
Go German club teams.
Yes, we are completely unbiased here. So 8-3 Wall City lead over the Munich Ultimate Club. So it's Berlin currently up on their Munich opponents. Elsewhere in the pre-quarterfinals, 12-2 now between KFK and Costa Rica. And you mentioned that Costa Rica were maybe spent. Well, when we saw KFK play Isno this morning, they put in 7 on the bounce to go from 8-6 to 15-6. They shut out Red Bulls 8-0 in the first half earlier in the tournament as well. And this KFK team really does go on hot streaks. And they are not going to be an easy out in the top 8. Let me tell you that. Over on the stream field, it is 11-8 Foy up on Shaq. As at the moment, do not have an eye on the bad skid game against Is No Good. If we do find that, we will let you know.
And certainly Bad Skid will be hungry for a bit of redemption, having lost in sudden death to Gentle on the live stream but a few games ago. It had a bit of a sloppy start on that one in absolutely horrendous conditions. It was one of those games where you try and wipe the disc on your shirt and it's probably wetter than it was when you started.
For those of you who are doing a bracket like UltiWorld's Picks contest, you know, 1 and 2, Clapham undefeated, that sounds about right. Kuzblafota, 2, yeah, okay, they lost a game, but they got back from it. And then the 3 and 4, the other power pool winners, Ranelagh and Gentle. And if you had that earlier in the tournament, then you are a wiser man than I.
Or woman.
Well, it's pretty easy to be a wiser woman than I.
That's true. Okay, I stand corrected.
But no, I do see your point. You are a wiser person than I, regardless of your gender identity. So it seems to go from bad to worse now for MUC, because they're starting the second half on defence. And this is the first time we've seen the Wall City O-line since they scored to make it 3-all. Now they're going to put it deep. Oh, they're coming into it a little bit cold. Oh, the early bid got just enough to dissuade the player from making the catch. Didn't get the touch on it, but sometimes it doesn't need to. It's Jägermeister who got enough to get the block.
Well, you caught it, Benji. It's been a while since we've seen Wall City's O-line out on the field, and it is really quite chilly out here. We're in, like, I think I'm wearing about 7 layers today.
Really? Hang on, I'm trying to work out. I'm at 5, to be fair. So it is, yeah, it's coming from Sardinia to this is a bit of a culture shock. However, evidently a culture shock there for the Munich D-line as well. First time we've seen them in a while, because they give the disc right back towards the far sideline. There's a bit of work to do. Layout, everything is going Wall City's way today. 9-3.
Yep, it gives straight back, and Rob Schumacher does the work. We talked about Phil Johnson having previously played for Clapham. We know you guys are watching, so you'll be glad to see a bit of Rob Schumi action on. Of course, Schumacher, clues in the surname, has also represented Germany at the national level, or international level, I should say, and is an all-round very fun human being. Very good at Ultimate, but also, let's just say, he's quite good at a party.
He's a nice, he's a nice bloke. I like Shuey, and he's. I'll tell you what, he's found a role here. This is actually something that I think we should praise Wall City for. Is they've got in a lot of players from different clubs and some big name players as well. And sometimes it's hard to integrate those players into a new atmosphere, into a new environment. You know, you don't want to step on any toes. You know, you think, you know, players might not necessarily have ego, but it's difficult asking, you know, some players to take on different roles. And so far, it seems to be knitting together seamlessly.
So we have a question for asking what the name of Munich's number 90 is. It's Felix Jägermeister. Oh, no. Jägermeister? Yeah, we'll go for that.
I'd go Jägermeister.
Yeah.
But then I do not speak German. So I fully prepared to be wrong. Yeah, those recognisable with those kind of royal blue Under Armour tights. He's got Tokai cleats and a quite heavy ankle brace on that left ankle as well.
Yeah, not always the best idea, the ankle brace. Apparently it can weaken your joint, but it's you know, solid thing to see. Ultimate players playing through an injury.
It's the idea about, you know, like wearing like high ankle basketball shoes as well. Sometimes you might be doing yourself more long-term harm than good. As Naumov tries to squeeze one through, but it blades. So we're seeing Wall City come zone, and that's working for them now as well.
Well, it's just changing up the defensive look. You know, you gear yourself up for playing some strong match defense. You come up against the zone. You have to make that mental adjustment. And this is a hard game for MUC right now, but they get the block.
Maybe got a little bit greedy, tried to laser in and take it all in one pass. That other idea is a Simonazzi. Now with a green beanie hat, points, remonstrates, shows the cut, but does not have the speed across the ground. Does Vatrin, and in Wall City get the disc back quickly. You can see what Simonazzi's thinking. He wants to get the disc down the other end of the field. He wants to accelerate the pace of play, not give the Wall City zone a chance to set, but just has not got the execution right.
Well, you can see the desire there. Vatrin really going for it, whereas Vanderholm probably saw that it was a bit too much of an ask.
So faking around, stall count beginning to rise. Gets it off towards the far sideline where Ursa makes the catch. Now low, well, this is going to have to, well, I thought he was going to have to lay out for an extension. In the end, has the space and the speed to just slide to the turf. Now continue towards the break side. And Wall City work back towards the centre as Beigelbach gets it and swings. Tight pressure from MUC, but not quite tight enough. Potential to step into that flick huck instead. Takes the reset. Back to Ursa. Remarkable patience being demonstrated by, again, the D-line offense here for Wall City. Herkens fakes it wearing that thick white headband. Ursa, a little bit of throw and go, that rises. Made that catch look easier than it did. Did Faber, because he sprung up very quickly like he had flubber on his feet. And now down towards the sideline. Oh, bit of a collateral damage between teammates there. And now the throw goes. They're looking for a receiver in the end zone by the far sideline. Towed in by Jona Beigelbach. Another break for Wall City. They've gone from being 3-2 down to 10-3 up, and it feels like this is all but over as a contest, I'm afraid, Hannah.
I'm trying to just watch this one back and figure out if that was a break or not, or if it was just, again, yeah, just Munich really not quite having enough coverage of the Wall City. The problem is that all of them are just going completely 100% the whole time. We've already talked about the extra little chunk on the roster right at the bottom of our page. They have the depth. They know they can completely just gas MUC. And it's a hard psychological point. You know, they haven't scored in such a long time.
Yeah.
But it's also the idea of you're trying to smother these athletes that are just running you around in circles. It'd be nice to see them have a little bit more energy. But at the moment, it's a really hard task to stop the just absolute mechanical monster that is Wall City right now.
As we mentioned, the other German team in the pre-quarters, bad skidder up against is no good. No updates from that as of yet. If we get some, we will let you know. KFK now at 14-3 on Costa Rica, so 1 point away from a quarterfinal berth. And Foy are up 13-9 on Czech in the other pool pre-quarter matchup that you can currently find streamed over on Pool 3 on Field 3. So what I highly recommend you do is put that on mute and have that kind of little picture in the corner of your screen while you watch us in full flow. Not that I'm biased or anything. No. That is the only bias I will show.
What, for your own commentary?
Maybe. So they, rather than working underneath, they want to try and huck their way out of the problem. Hits the receiver in stride. Is he in the end zone? Goal is signalled. So finally MUC stop the slide. It's Sebastian Philipp to get their first point on the board. Since 3-2, they've since conceded 8 on the bounce. Yikes, but at last, they've got something to show.
Well, there we go. There's that little bit of energy, that little bit of fire from the MUC O-line. Perhaps a pool play, do you reckon?
Yeah, it feels like they had a very concerted effort there, you know, rotating people through because whatever they've had going just hasn't worked for them. So trying some new combinations, finally finding something that worked, found a matchup they liked, isolated, and importantly, they executed, because we've seen them have decent looks before, but the execution hasn't been there, whereas that time it was spot on.
Well, a much-needed hold at long last after a straight 8 points on the bounce for Wall City. I mean, come on.
To be fair, 2 of those were from the O-line, 1 to make it 3-all and then the first point out of half. But yes, it's not been a great stretch for Munich, this, in all honesty, and I think they know it. But
they did say ahead of the game, Wall City, the sneaky player who I will still not reveal, they said that this is usually an unbalanced matchup. It's not a dogfight. It's not like a, well, I'm not gonna be controversial and say any other club teams in the Open Division that maybe have
I don't know what you're on about.
some touchy, contentious matches, but you know, it's good to see a little bit of a different defensive look now from Munich. Looks maybe like an FSU, some loose handle marks for sure.
Well, you've got to try something different, because if you are going to put a little bit of pressure on this game, at least, you need to get some breaks. So maybe just cook up something a little bit different, throw a bit of spice their way, see how well they can handle the heat.
Well, if only to just extend this game so we get more of it to watch.
So Diekman, maybe a yard or two outside the end zone. I'm not very good with distances.
Well, I mean, we are on mainland European soil, Benji, so it should be in metric system.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a milli-yard outside the end zone or two. That was what you meant, yeah? Oh, scuba over the top. I think that's a stall out. I'm not sure if it was completed anyway. Our view is blocked by a large group of players all clustering around each other.
Can confirm, was completed and one of the most casual catches I've seen all weekend.
I think maybe the reason it was so casual is because I think deep in their heart of hearts they knew it was a stall out, uncontested. So they got it most of the way of the field, but they couldn't quite punch it in. So an opportunity now for MUC to break.
Oh, wouldn't that be exciting?
Swung all the way across the pitch where the catch is made. Turning, pivoting, finding a receiver coming through.
Oh, there's a big option deep and they're going to take it.
Von Milchewski with the swing and then put it, and then the way we're aiming for Hagermeister, almost intercepted in the midfield. Tried to play a bit of Mac line almost did Philip K. In the end, no one got a piece of it. Back to the turf, and maybe Wall City's blush is spared.
Yeah, that's a shame. There was such absolutely blown coverage there. But hey-ho.
Wall City live to fight another day on this point. Trying to stretch it all the way to the sideline. This MUC coming back out again. They're finding these very narrow channels and they're executing the throws. Diekman making full use of his wingspan on the force. Getting wide, manipulating the mark. And here is the aforementioned Diekman. Closing in on the red zone. This is where they stuttered and stalled last time out. Little bit of 1-2. Schumacher back into the backfield. Low. Just one more pass will do it, and it is popped in, cool as you like, to Philip K for an 11-4 lead.
Well, it's a decent squeeze there from Munich. They are making them play in slightly smaller spaces there, obviously also by virtue of the just the simple field position. But some slightly loose throws there. I enjoyed the high sort of, just toss backhand and then almost was that a push pass for the score? Surely not.
No, I think probably with that angle, it doesn't quite work. I think it's just there's a certain nonchalance to the play that you can afford perhaps when you're now 11-4 up.
Yeah, you can definitely afford that. There's enough money in the budget.
You've got that. Yeah, that kind of the bloodstream's kind of cooled off ever so slightly. You've got the air of confidence where, throws where all of us, you might think, oh, it's tight, am I going to throw this? You've practiced them hundreds of times. You'd throw them in a throw around. It's like, well, actually, if you don't think, if I'm not overthinking it, I do have the throw and I'll just do it and it's easy. I think. I don't know, I'm not really that good.
Although it is definitely heartening to see MUC's D-line get 2 turns on the Wall City O-line.
Just ever so slight bit of inside-out shape there to find that window, as that is a rolling pull out of the sideline. I wonder whether they'll take the slight loss of yardage and brick it, or whether, because perhaps they think that Wall City are setting up a sideline trap, which does seem to be the play here, but it is brought in from the sideline and dished into the cup, where Meyerhofer makes the catch. And it's continued all the way around on this near side for Filippo Simonazzi.
Would have been nice to see him be a bit more aggressive with his position after taking those negative yards for the centering pass.
But they seem pretty comfortable with it now. There's a loud call from the sideline, which I imagine is we're going to go one-on-one now. Didn't hear exactly what the call was. Normally they disguise it as well, even though it's very clear what's going on, even if you don't use precisely the same terminology. Low, wow, what a scoop that was from Holzer, because it was a bit behind, and now maybe one throw out a bit. Do they go for it all? Trying to blade it down the sideline, layout, sensational snag from Tobias Meyerhofer.
Meyerhofer doing it all for the fans back at home. That is a really good play. Full stretch, lefty grab. Not the easiest to do.
But it's the right thing to do, because if he'd gone trailing edge there, I would have thrown up in my mouth. Genuinely, it makes me so nervous when people do it, especially because, as you mentioned, in that scenario there, the spin is taking it into the hand if you're going with that lefty. You're creating that little bit of a backboard as you're trying, as opposed to kind of grab your arm around it when you're going trailing edge and scoop it, and it's kind of spinning out of your hand. Brilliantly done. Was, you know, faith shown by the handler, kind of put it out in front with the opportunity to go and make a play. And I tell you what, boy, did Meyerhofer make it.
He did indeed, and we are so blessed to be bringing you wall-to-wall coverage, so you get a nice picture on our little chat from Mike Palmer.
The maestro himself.
The OG Mike Palmer. The one, the only, except no imitations, even though there are several hanging around the ultimate scene.
You could say it's almost wall-to-wall city here.
We love a good pun. We love a good pun. But if you want to increase our coverage and you want to make our Wi-Fi more stable, our gear more waterproof, and allow us to do more things, we're really fortunate here at the EUCF to have some budget from the tournament organisers, but that is not always the case. If you want us to be at more tournaments and giving you better coverage, please do consider becoming a Patreon.
The links to our Patreon are in the description of all our YouTube videos, and you can find more and full details on our website, which is predictably ulti.TV. A nice bit of foresight zone there. Well, I think we own a couple of others as well, so Sock Wrestling TV coming soon. I jest. Or do I?
Although we do need to update our security certificates, which we're aware of, and we will do.
Do we?
We do.
Oh, that's a shame. Bit of a bump on the mark there from Philip against Schumacher. Puts one out in front to space. And instead goes back to Schumacher. Wants to throw it and go, but there's no continuation. So they have to look back central. Schumacher has this turn of pace to get free as the reset on a high stall. Faith that Basov is going to come through as the front of stack. Looking downfield. Wall City's offense looking calm, looking unflustered. Thought about trying to work it all the way into the end zone. Doesn't need to, as Diekman dishes to Basov for another Wall City goal. 12-5 is the score.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see on the replay exactly who it was that got completely left for dust to allow that 2-on-1 in the end zone. It's just that it's a nightmare position to be in as a defender, sandwiched between two offensive players, that close to the goal line. You have to be superhuman to prevent that goal. And at this point, this stage in the game, there's no point, you know, throwing yourself around and doing any kind of mischief, dislocating a shoulder, or doing anything funny to yourself, especially on the AstroTurf.
But you could look so cool.
Yeah, but is it worth it mid-stage of the tournament? We're not even into the weekend yet.
No, I mean, this is true. You know, having come straight from Sardinia, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but as I mentioned, very different style of tournament to this. Yeah, you kind of lose a little bit of track of time bouncing from one tournament to another. So, yeah, you mentioned 2 full days of play left, basically.
And it's
the risk reward.
It's definitely a very different outlook weather-wise from Sardinia.
It is nowhere near as warm. Coming from a schedule where there is a big lunch break to keep everyone out of the sun during the middle of the day to, well, there is no sun to keep people out of. A little bit of a change of pace, but very fortunate to be able to do what I do with some excellent people watching some brilliant games. On the far sideline for MUC as they're trying to extend and elongate this game. Wagner. A little bit of a lefty to squeeze that one down the sideline to Simonazzi. Surely not again, not this time. Wasn't to be for Meyerhofer, but he almost had a repeat performance down in that far corner. That would have been quite something.
I certainly would have. Really enjoying the Munich presence in front of us on the sideline, who are listening in to our commentary. Maybe they can, you know, we can give them some tips and some hints. Although, what do you say at this stage in the game? I don't know.
I would say don't listen to me. It's probably a good idea. That's for them. If you're listening at home, you absolutely should listen to me. I'm never wrong. Honest. Here's Beigelberg. Couple of cutters making the same cut. in the end, plenty of time and space for one. It's a good job that there was, because that was not the cleanest of catch by Ben Joseph, although there might be a potential stall out here. I think it's going to go back into the hands.
Well, that's intriguing, because that's the second Wall City stall out that we've seen happen. Perhaps they're just becoming a little bit too casual. Ah, there you go. We get confirmation from the wonderful Felix, our dedicated cameraman. It's a pick.
I did not see the hand signals, but then I was maybe looking in the wrong position.
No, you're quite correct. There was a late use of WFDF-approved hand signals.
They've got to play a free as the reset if they can just find it. Trying to work it past the poach. In the end, they just squeeze it in front. Now Beigelbock looking. Johnson's available on the swing. Adjustment. Yes, no. Getting a tip on it is the defender. The number 8 for Wall City, Jan Vatrin.
But Textbook immediately gets the head down, goes on D and stops Munich from being able to take an immediate score.
And the rain is beginning to pick up again a little bit now. Still not much wind, but just getting a little bit slippier. So is the ground. Really need to make sure you're deliberate and pointed with your footwork. This one's going to go all the way across the end zone through a dangerous area. And this time Johnson is able to make amends and palm it to the floor. Yeah,
he's a little bit fortunate there that the middle of the end zone had no other players in it, just mooching around.
And this one is picked up and absolutely jettisoned deep. But there's no one close for Spiegel. So a bit of a field position game there. Oh, I said that there was no wind. I can just feel it breathing through a little bit more strongly now.
Well, as long as it doesn't reach the stage as it was previously, where it was picking up the tent that is currently keeping us dry-ish and sort of throwing it around. That was fun, having to sort of hold on to it.
You have a different idea of fun than I do, Hannah.
That's because I'm slightly unhinged.
I mean, as opposed to very unhinged, which is what I am. Yes. Okay, that checks out. Sure.
You know, your hashtag goals, Benji. We all want to be as unhinged as you, real swinger.
Believe me, you do not. It is a wild ride. So I think there's just there was an injury substitution there. That's why there was a brief stoppage. But the disc is now checked back in, and Wall City Munich have it in their possession.
Just going to say the chats in the live stream have gone a little bit quiet. I mean, it's still pretty fun watching this game.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it despite the score. And it's not the closest contest we've seen all week, but it's also not the biggest blowout we've seen all week. And there is a very high standard of ultimate on display.
There certainly is, Benji.
As I mentioned, I am never wrong. Well, okay, maybe I am as a simple turf on the dump and then quickly lefty into the end zone. Wow. That was punishing, I think you have to say, from Wall City. It's Muhametov with the goal.
What was that name then?
Muhametov.
I just really enjoyed the way you said Mucha.
I mean, I've been trying to practice that kind of German CH.
So Marvin Muchametov?
It's almost like you're a bit Scouse.
I'm down. So clearly Munich have given up on beating Wall City. I jest. They haven't given up. They're definitely still fighting for this game. They'll be fighting against the wind and the rain as well as their opponents in the white shirts. But seems like they're more interested in the game of proving you wrong, Benji.
Look, it was one missed throw, all right? It happens to everyone.
So it's a small sacrifice to make. It's reaching that stage, isn't it?
You.
We're reaching that stage.
I mean, it just feels like this is... On the one hand, you kind of want, when it's a big deficit like this, you kind of want to throw the tape out and forget about it. But there certainly are, lessons you can take from this. Even if you lose the game, don't lose the lesson. Was something that one of my coaches once told me.
Oh, absolutely. Even when you turn up to a tournament and you don't win a single game, as long as you're losing but improving is the important thing.
Or you're winning the party.
No, I prefer losing but improving and winning the party.
Oh, I didn't realise that you could do both.
That's what I always try to do. As you say, lose the game, learn a lesson.
Oh,
lose but improve.
I try and win the party.
But if winning isn't an option, you can certainly do some pretty cool things, but that's a good redemption there.
Overthrown, and it is Beigelbock who makes the catch. He goes back into the backfield. Where Kronacher. And they're trying to reset into the middle. They're trying to play their way around the back. until they get into that nice vertical set, lovely little channel. Finds Herkens, goes deep, and you could see the receiver just fall over to the ground. He covered his head with his hand, not because he was ashamed. I think maybe just worried about catching a little bit of collateral from the defensive player there.
No, that is a smart thing to do. Everyone is gunning for it, even with this giant deficit, and you do not want to take a cleat directly to the face. No one wants that.
Yeah, not ideal. Naumov makes the drop. Wondered perhaps if there was a bit of contact, but apparently not. So again, another turn for Wall City. Close to the end zone, and they put this in, 1 point away from victory. And they're going to take an opportunity for a player to just do a little bit of shoelace tying.
Indeed, extending the stoppage.
Not a stoppage.
Extending the existing stoppage. Because you can't take a stoppage.
Turnover's not a stoppage.
Okay, well,
but basically, they were taking.
In the game.
You know
what I meant.
He was taking time with the walk to the disc. It was a courtesy call.
Courtesy call. I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be officially in the rule set. Ruben Berg, let us know what you think.
Herkens tries to zing one in there in front of the end zone. A little bit of fancy footwork. The pickup, drag of the back foot there by Joel Ben Joseph. 14-5, 1 point away from game.
And it is pretty much over for MUC. However, I'm looking forward to seeing what their O-line comes out with in this point, because they have nothing left to lose in this game. If you can come back and give Wall City a bit of a scare, regardless of the end result of this game, what that does for your program, what that does for your team, the mental resilience you can build, you can practice in this moment. This is why it's so important to have opportunities to play high-level games against elite teams, because you can't replicate this kind of moment anywhere else.
Also, I said this in Sardinia, and unfortunately the way I phrased it still holds true. I said if anyone throws a completed thumber this week, I'll buy them a beer. Technically still this week.
I mean,
I'll be honest, I don't see it, but I would like to. But no, your point...
If you can get the message to Wall City, I think that could probably happen for you.
Somehow I feel it's even less likely from them. I feel like they would like to do a professional job here, which, to be fair, they have done very much all game. And yeah, you're right, you know, MUC, put in your O here. Okay, good. Maybe you generate a couple of pressure, get a break or two. And you feel like it probably is out of, you know, too far out of sight. But you can get into a nice little groove to take it to your games tomorrow. Hanging deep pull, just going to curl back an MUC rather than wait to see if it drifts out of the sideline. Catch in and we're back in play. Philip looking for an option downfield. Tight space, but Hegermeister finds it. And now here's Brett Schneider looking towards the end zone. It's Von Milchewski in stride. That was a nice little play there from Munich's O-line. Looked very fluid, very calm. It's just a shame that hasn't been there consistently enough really for MUC.
Absolutely. As I said, at this point, the pressure off. There's no real stakes necessarily in the game. However, if they can keep their cool, keep their calm, maybe go out and actually get a block and convert it, they have been able to occasionally turn Wall City's offense. They haven't been flawless. So, I mean, heck, why not?
I'm trying to count out how many times that O-line has turned this game. Now, it's not a huge number, but as you mentioned, it's not flawless. So they do have that in them. But if they can continue to play this way for the rest of the tournament, again, Wall City in a very crowded top 8 bracket, they're certainly not a team to be trifled with. Heck, honestly.
Or tiramisu with.
Sure, whatever your dessert. What is a very German dessert? I'm not a Black Forest gateaued with. It's not Berlin though. I know it's the wrong part of the country.
I'm just thinking of a big chocolate gâteau now going in someone's face.
Oh, what, like CBBC style?
It would really work like with the Wall City white shirts. Really work.
I think it's India where it's tradition on your birthday. Like you put their face in a cake. It's my kind of tradition, to be honest.
Not very COVID safe though. considering we couldn't blow out candles, let alone put your face in it.
Well, you're not sharing the cake after you put your face in it, I assume.
Are you not?
I mean, I'd be surprised.
Stranger things have happened.
Because it's probably all on your face by that point. Let's get back to the game in hand. This Cup's doing a very good job at moving around and stopping those throws through, but they're not stopping those throws over the top, and Wolf takes advantage with that sneaky little scuba.
See, this is why you should have told him if he completed a thumber, it would have been fine. A little bit of wobble on that scuba, but they need the overheads to break through the zone.
There are a few ways of getting through a zone. Over is certainly one of them if you've got the ability in. So again, a bit of a more than a breath of wind, a bit of a puff of wind perhaps, but not enough really to dissuade throws of this caliber, as there's going to be a little bit of a time working out who's marking who as the switch comes, and they're just doing the thing of taking the players furthest downfield and working forward from there, trying to eliminate what they consider to be the most dangerous threats. Schumacher has it with the disc. Circles around. Swing. K on this near side. Continues that movement. Back into the centre. There's an inside shot available. Finds it. Diekman makes the grab. Wall City will take the place in the quarterfinals, besting their compatriots from the Munich Alderman Cup. 15-6. And wow, what a performance, Hannah.
Yeah, a strong start from Munich, but after that point, it was really never in doubt. A nice finish, but just that first half, when we got to 3-all and the unanswered just roll, it's almost like it's cartoonish, you know, when you get that kind of like the big steamroller comes along, and it wasn't, you know, any kind of, you know, the two cartoon characters, the one of the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Not any of that nonsense. It just flattened MUC. They were still trying their best. Their heads were still up. They were still having a good time, and they gave us some quality plays, but just a couple of those big throws at the end, the overshots, just really killed them. They never really got their heads back in. But Wall City, dreamy, looking forward to seeing what happens in their game against Clapham. It's going to be a stormer.
If I might piggyback on this cartoon analogy, you know, sometimes in like Scooby-Doo, when you see players run and they're like, it's like a whirlwind underneath them, and it just feels like they're working so hard, but they're just not quite getting the reward for it, not quite going anywhere. It felt like that sometimes, where you could see what they were doing, you could see the effort and the intent was there, but some, for one reason or another, they just couldn't find the space, they just couldn't get it moving, and a very consummate, professional performance from Berlin's Wall City to take a place in the quarterfinals.
And they'll have a professional appointment, as we said, against Clapham tomorrow.
Right, we've got a time to have a little bit of a break here, 20 minutes before the next game starts, which will be the last game of the day. Here on Field 2, I'm staying in situ, going to be joined I think by Lorcan. We're going to have a little bit of switch around of commentators for catch-up versus leftovers, Austria versus the Czech Republic in the mixed division. Meanwhile, over on Field 3, more mixed action as Germany's Colorado take on Guayota from Spain. That's going to do it from all of us here at ulti.TV. Make sure that if you've enjoyed our content, that you do all the kind of the holy trinity of YouTube, which is like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. I'm not quite sure how that works out, but believe me, it does. And if you have enjoyed our coverage and you feel that you can contribute, if everyone was able to put a little bit in,
or a lot in.
I mean, I would not complain for a lot, but then we could do more tournaments like this. We could have more pitches, more/better equipment. We would love to be able to do so. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description of all our YouTube videos, or you can find out more at www.ulti.TV. So for all our crew here on the ground at xEUCF in Bruges, for Hannah Penderbury, I've been Benji Rees, and we will see you on the other side.